I'm the clever one, you're the potato one.
And I'm Victoria Wheeler. I'm New Who.
Good evening. I'm a lizard woman from the dawn of time, and this is my wife.
And welcome to Gallifrey's Most Wanted, where we discuss the adventures of all 12 Doctors through time and space. Episode 1, An Unearthly Child, story code A, written by Anthony Coburn, with additional material by C.E. Bunny Weber, directed by Waris Hussein, produced by Verity Lambert with the fine help of associate producer Mervyn Pinfield, script edited by David Whitaker, and it aired between November 23rd and December 4th, 1963. Episode 1, An Unearthly Child. A lone policeman walks through the fog. He stops to check the gate leading to I.M. Foreman Scrap Merchant, 76 Todders Lane. The gate opens. We find a police call box standing in the yard making an odd hum. Cut to Coal Hill School. We overhear Miss Barbara Wright, the school's history teacher, tell Susan to wait in a classroom. Barbara enters the classroom of Ian Chesterton, the science teacher, wanting to discuss Susan Foreman, a student who seems to know more than her teachers about the subjects they teach. Barbara describes going to Susan's address to talk to her grandfather, only to find it was a scrapyard. I.M. Foreman scrapyard. Barbara tells Ian this night that they should follow the girl home to confront her. Cut to the other classroom, where Susan is waiting, listening to a small portable radio. Barbara has brought a book on the French Revolution, and Susan promises to return it in the morning. Barbara says she can take her time, but Susan quickly says, oh, she'll be finished. Ian decides to offer Susan a ride home, which she refuses. When Barbara tells her, be careful, it will be foggy, Susan says she likes the fog because it's mysterious. They say their goodnights and leave Susan alone in the classroom. She opens the book and reads a bit and says, but that's not right. Cut to Ian and Barbara pulling up across the street from Foreman's scrapyard. They wonder if they're doing the right thing. They share some of the oddities they've noticed in Susan. Ian says, maybe she's just meeting a boy. Barbara responds, I wish he was. It would be so normal. I'm frightened, like we're about to interfere in something we shouldn't. Just then they see Susan enter the yard, and they follow her. They explore the clutter of the yard. Ian trips and loses the torch. They start calling Susan's name, but get no answer. They discover a police box, simply confused at its presence in the middle of a scrapyard, and then they touch it. They feel it vibrating. Ian says, it's alive. All of a sudden they hear a man coughing, and the old man enters the yard. He coughs again, and Susan calls out, Grandfather? They immediately confront the old man. He asks them what they're doing, and they tell him, we're looking for one of our students, and we heard her voice coming from the box. The old man tries to convince them they are wrong. Ian says they will go look for a policeman. Susan calls out again to her grandfather, and the call box opens. Barbara and Ian rush in. They are now in a large, white, futuristic room with a six-sided control console in the middle. Ian exclaims, it's not possible. He had walked around the police box. This room should not fit in it. Susan's grandfather says, you wouldn't understand. Ian declares, it's an illusion, it must be. The old man responds, the point is not whether you understand, but what is going on and what's going to happen to you. He indicates to Susan, they will tell everyone about the ship, you know. Barbara exclaims, a ship? You mean this moves? Susan explains it moves in the name she has given the box, TARDIS, time in relative dimensions in space, and that it can move anywhere in time and space. Susan's grandfather explains they are cut off from their own people and are exiles in the fourth dimension. Ian and Barbara try to convince Susan that this is an illusion and she is one of them. But Susan says she was born in another time and another world. The old man locks them in. Ian tries to use the console to open the door and is shocked. Susan's grandfather says he cannot let them go or they will turn them into the authorities. Susan threatens to go with them. He goes towards the console and starts a TARDIS. As it dematerializes, spinning the teachers around, knocking them unconscious, reappearing in another place, a sandy wilderness. Episode 2, The Cave of Skulls. The TARDIS stands in the sand as a caveman, Cal, approaches. Meanwhile, in a cave further into the forest, a group of cavemen and women watch Za attempt to make fire by rubbing a bone in his hand. All the while he is mocked by the one called the Old Mother. Za demands she tell him his father's secrets to making fire. Her, the daughter of the chief, tells Za she fears Cal will be made leader because he can bring meat to the tribe, and that her father may give her to Cal if Za cannot make fire. Meanwhile, in the TARDIS, the two new time travelers come too. Using a view screen, Susan's grandfather shows him what is outside now. But Ian demands proof that they have transported across time and space. He calls Susan's grandfather Dr. Foreman. The old man responds, "Doctor who?" The doctor has been named. Barbara tries to convince Ian. She thinks the doctor may be telling the truth. The doctor won't open the doors until he knows it's safe. After some reading, the doctor says they moved back in time. Ian says that's not possible, but Barbara believes him. The doctor asks Ian if he touched the sands and looked into the alien sky, would he believe it? To which Ian replies, yes. The doors open, and there is the sandy landscape. They walk outside and are amazed by what they see. The doctor is concerned with the exterior of his ship. It's still a police box. It hasn't changed. Dear, dear, how very disturbing. I think he might have broken it. The doctor wanders away to take some samples, and as he does, the caveman Cal creeps up on him. Back at the TARDIS, Barbara explores and finds a horse skull in the sand. Ian mutters, a police box in the midst of... it doesn't make sense. Susan also notices the TARDIS is still a police box, explaining he's been many shapes and many things. Barbara and Ian try to come to grips with what is happening. Susan feels they are being watched and calls for her grandfather. At that moment, the doctor, lighting a huge pipe, is attacked by Cal. The others hear a scream and come running. They discover the doctor's bag, his hat, and something is wrong. He may have been taken, says Ian. Susan finds his notebooks and knows he would never leave it, confirming he must have been taken captive. Ian remarks the ground is cold, almost freezing. Back at the cave, Za, her, and her father, Horg, discuss how Cal says he can make fire. Za says he is leader, and Cal is basically a newcomer and has only come here after his own tribe has died out. At that moment, Cal returns to the cave with the unconscious doctor. Cal says he saw the old man make fire with his hands. What he did notice, the doctor was using matches, like a caveman would know what matches are. Cal says the old man will make them fire. Cal is the true leader as he has brought them someone who can make fire. The doctor wakes up and is startled by the crowd around him. Cal orders the doctor to make fire. Za says this is only an old man in strange skins. Hork tries to prevent a fight between the two men when the doctor says to let him go and he will make fire. But oops, no matches. Za uses this to his advantage and hopes to drive Cal from the cave. Cal pleads with the doctor to make fire and then even threatens to kill him, just as Ian, Barbara, and Susan come and try to stop them. They are all taken captive and Za orders them taken to the Cave of Skulls. Cal leaves the cave in disgust. Za tells Horg he has claimed her as his own, as he is now the leader. Old Mother says they should have killed the strange visitors then and there. Za says they will wait until orb shines in the sky again. Meanwhile, in the adjacent cave, our heroes awaken to a cave full of skulls, all of which have been split wide open. Episode 3, The Forest of Fear. In the cave, the doctor is apologizing for their capture. As Ian says, all the skulls in the cave are the same, smashed open. In the main cave, the tribe is asleep, all but the Old Mother. She carefully gets up, crosses the cave, and steals a stone weapon from the sleeping Za. The imprisoned travelers are arguing about ways to escape, but the doctor realizes they need to free Ian first, while Old Mother creeps past the entrance of the Cave of Skulls. The doctor and Barbara start to bond during this adversity. The doctor encourages her, and she notices, saying, "You're trying to help me." Fear makes companions of us all. Barbara says she didn't think the doctor could be afraid. He replies, "Fear is with all of us, and always will be, like that other sensation that lives with it." "What's that?" asks Barbara. Referring to Ian, the doctor says, "Your friend mentioned it. Hope That's right, hope. Back in the main cave, Her wakes up. Finding the old mother gone, she wakes Za, who notices his weapon is missing. In the Cave of Skulls, the TARDIS crew, still trying to free themselves, are startled by the old mother sneaking into the cave from the hidden entrance. While looking for the old mother, Her tells Za she saw the old woman steal his weapon. This is when Her realizes the weapon was stolen to kill the TARDIS crew. At the still blocked main entrance to the cave, they overhear old mother talking to the prisoners. The old mother frees the travelers and they flee into the woods, just as Za and Her enter the Cave of Skulls. Racing through the woods, the doctor says he must rest, but Ian argues against it. Confused about where they are, Barbara shrieks, "The bush has moved!" The doctor and Ian debate the next move. After a hearty battle of egos, they come up with a plan. But Za and Her have been following. They hear an animal growl. Za thinks it's wrong to have followed the travelers into the night. Her pushes Za on. Susan falls while running, landing on the carcass of a boar. Za follows the screams of the frightened girl. He and Her think they have found the TARDIS crew, but is really a tiger who attacks and badly mauls Za. The others see the attack. Instead of escaping, Barbara runs to aid the wounded Za. Ian follows reluctantly. The doctor wants to go back to the TARDIS, but Susan insists on staying with the others and aiding the fallen caveman. They treat the wounds with Her's help as the doctor continues to urge flight. Barbara and the doctor argue over whether it's better to run. Barbara calls him selfish. He reminds them that the real danger the caveman represents and that they are not safe. In the Cave of Skulls, Cal is questioning the old mother about what happened. He asks her if the strangers told Za how to make fire. She says they wouldn't. As old mother passes out, Cal raises a weapon. Back in the jungle, the doctor and his friends are trying to help Za, but first must convince Her they mean no harm. All they want to do is help and go back to their own cave. Za reminds Her these strangers did not kill. The doctor reluctantly helps after Ian has prevented him from actually harming the injured Za. With the caveman on an improvised stretcher, they head for the safety of the TARDIS. Back in the cave, Cal tells the gathered tribe that Za and Her have fled with the TARDIS crew. The tribe goes to question the old mother, but find her dead in the Cave of Skulls. Cal spins a story that it was Za who killed her and freed the travelers to keep fire from the tribe. Horde proclaims Cal the leader, and they go after Za and the others. As our friends from the TARDIS exit the woods near where the ship has landed, they find their path blocked by Cal. Episode 4, The Firemaker. Ian orders the others to retreat into the forest, but it is more than just Cal. It is the whole tribe surrounding them. The tribe returns to the cave with the prisoners recaptured and question Her. She comes to our hero's defense. She explains that the strangers had helped Za when he was wounded, and that it was old mother who had engineered the escape. Cal tells her the old woman does not speak. Accusing Za of killing her, he pulls out Za's weapon to mime how it was done. But the doctor interrupts. "This knife has no blood on it. I said this knife has no blood on it." Cal, looking at the knife, says, "This is a bad knife. It does not tell what it does." Doctor says, "This is a good knife," picking it up. "I have never seen a finer knife." Cal says, "I will show you," pulling out his own knife from the rope around his waist. The doctor grabs it and examines it. This knife shows what it does. It has blood on it. The doctor turns to Za, showing him both knives. "Who killed the old woman?" Za says he did not kill her. The doctor turns to Cal. Cal confesses to murdering the old mother. He says she'd set the TARDIS crew free. The doctor turns to the tribe and demands, "Is this a good leader, one who kills your old women?" The doctor works the crowd up, then urges Ian to help. He picks up a stone and throws it at Cal. "Drive him out!" Ian follows his lead. "Drive him out!" and hurls a stone. The tribe turns on Cal, pelting him with stone, and drives him out of the cave. Ian tells Za that Cal is not stronger than the whole tribe. Za tells the tribe to be on watch for Cal, and they will fight him together if he returns. He then orders that our time travelers be taken back to the Cave of Skulls, saying, if the TARDIS crew attempt to leave the cave, kill them. Ian and the others wander around the cave concerned of their fate. In the main cave, Za asks her what happened in the forest. He does not remember it all. She explains the tiger attacked and took your axe, and you laid on the ground. And then the one called friend, referring to Ian, went up to Za when he was wounded on the ground, but did not kill him. How the travelers were not fierce, but gentle and protective like a mother. Za says they are a different tribe, different from them, different from Cal. Also, how the one called friend said Cal is not stronger than the whole tribe. This sentiment confuses her. Za explains, the whole tribe drove Cal out. The whole tribe collects more fruit than one. The tribe can kill a beast while one alone would be killed. Ian Chesterton, socialist agitator. Her asks, are they from Orb? No, says Za. They're just a different tribe, from over the mountains, who can make fire, but don't want to show their tribe how to. Za explains how the leader must know how to make fire, and how he does not want to be driven out like Cal. He says the travelers must show him how to make fire. He will question the old man. In the Cave of Skulls, Ian has the team getting everything ready they will need to make a fire. As Za enters, he sees Ian using 2 sticks to start a fire. In his own manipulative way, the doctor tells Za, we are making fire. Za asks Ian if his name is Friend. He asks Ian, is he the leader of the tribe? Ian says no. The doctor is the leader. Susan asks if they're going to be set free. Za tells them the tribe thinks they are from Orb, and if they are sacrificed on the Stone of Death, Orb will bring them fire again. Barbara protests, that's not true. Za explains his theory that they are from the other side of the mountain, and if they show him how to make fire, he will take them home. If they do not agree, he will not be able to stop the others from killing them on the old stone. The doctor tells him again that they are making fire for him. I am watching, says Za. The whole tribe should be watching, says Ian the agitator. Everyone should know how to make fire. Not everyone can be leader, says Za. Perfectly true, says Ian. Ian and the doctor tell Za in their tribe the fire maker is the least important member because they can all make fire. The fire starts. In the main cave, Horg has noticed that Za has not returned, and they have no food. Za is no leader, says Horg. He fears Za is setting the prisoners free as the old mother had done before. Her says there are guards there to make sure they do not get away. Just then Cal returns to the back entrance of the Cave of Skulls and kills the guard. He enters the cave, and a fight starts between the 2 would-be leaders. In the firelight, and in a nicely filmed sequence, we watch the fight and see the TARDIS crew's reaction to Za's victory and the brutal death of the upstart Cal. The tribe is turned into a mob and headed toward the Cave of Skulls. Za hears this and takes the fire to show the tribe. Ian thinks they should go after him. The doctor stops him. In the main cave, Za tells Horg to take food and water to the new tribe, and that as leader, he will go out into the woods to get meat. Horg happily says he remembers how the meat and fire join. Barbecue. Her takes food and water to the prisoners, who ask, why have they not been released? She tells them the new leader, Za, wants them to stay. Ian thinks it may have been a mistake to give them fire. Barbara reminds him it saved their lives. Cut to caveman barbecue. A little later, Barbara wakes Ian to tell them they've been brought some meat and are eating. Za arrives and says he knows how to make fire, but he wants the 2 tribes to join, and he warns them against attempting to leave. Za departs, and Susan puts a skull on the end of a torch, flame leaping from the eye sockets, which gives Ian an idea. Later, her and the tribe enter the cave to find 4 flaming skulls and are terrified. The TARDIS crew sneak out the back entrance and flee through the jungle. Za see-through's a trick. When Her says the dark of night will hide them, Za says, with fire, night is day, and off the tribe goes in pursuit of the TARDIS crew. Just in the nick of time, they make it back to the TARDIS. The TARDIS takes off, dematerializing in front of the tribe of Gum. In the console room, the intrepid crew ready to land. The doctor admits that he didn't take them home. He says he can't, and he admits he may not know how to fly the TARDIS. The view screen indicates they've landed in a forest of some kind. He asks Susan to check the radiation reading. Normal, she says. They go to clean up from their last adventure as the needle on the radiation warning raises to dangerous level. Welcome, folks. Welcome, and thank you for listening to our little synopsis. I'm Ross Aiken. I am a long-time Doctor Who fan, hence I am old Who, and I'm here with my best friend Victoria, who is new Who. And the purpose of this podcast is for us to kind of discuss Doctor Who from our two different viewpoints. And let me give you a little backstory to how this happened. Me and Victoria have known each other for almost 30 years. And I have been talking Doctor Who to her for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
She was very gracious for the first 20 so. She would allow me to jabber on, and she would notice that how many videotapes I had that I recorded from growing up in D.C. and from Howard University showing the omnibus versions. And she would listen, and she would just politely, being the good friend, pay some attention. Flash forward to 2006 when 2005, when New Who started. And after about a year it had been on, I said, watch it. It's different. It's modern. You'll like it. And she watched it, and I'll let her take the story from this part.
I appreciate you saying that I was gracious about it. I don't know that I'm not entirely sure that adjective's ever been applied to me, but because you had lots of good ideas about lots of different things. You turned me on to Frank Miller and The Dark Knight Returns and things like that around this same era. I learned to pay attention when you went on and on about things, as you were prone to do. I'd let you go on for a while, and then eventually I'd say something about how crummy the sets were. And then you'd blow up about that and go on for another rant for another hour or so, and talk about how, when the story's good, you don't need great sets, and if the story drives the whole thing. And I would listen, but with only 30% of my attention. So it wasn't until I had a kid and was staying up late at night and needing stuff to watch, just to keep myself sane, that I picked up, because I don't think I was even a year in. It was after Brennan was born, so it was 2008 or 9 before I agreed to watch it.
Yeah, it might have been 2.
Because I think it was.
Oh no, because you watched all the way through Rose in one sitting.
Not one.
You didn't
sitting,
watch
but
Rose
quickly.
as it aired.
No, not as it aired.
It
no.
was.
It was on Netflix.
Martha, when it started, it was coming out new.
Yeah.
So it was about 2008.
Right. It was on Netflix. I remember that because it was one of that sense of, well, now I've watched everything. I've reached the end of the internet. I clicked on it one day. That was where it was like, oh, this is what he's been talking about. Oh, I can see now. This is another one of these characters, like the other ones that you introduced me to, like Batman, like some of the other greats. If the character is strong enough, the psychological underpinnings are strong enough, the story's good enough, you can overcome anything. And of course, they weren't overcoming anything really with the budgets that they had in these new episodes.
And it is a different. The original show is story driven. The new show is character driven. But she got through Christopher Eccleston, and then she had same trauma that all people when their first doctor leaves.
Oh, absolutely. That's like the new guy shows up and he's wearing my old guy's clothes. This is not my doctor. No, and I did the same thing with Rose. When Rose left, and they wanted me to accept a new companion. This is not my companion.
You have some real it's like stepmother complex with Martha with you.
I think so. I think so.
You're not my mother.
Right. But
I have a mission. I'm not going to get her to watch Old Who, I think, but I'm going to get her to watch the pilot. If I can get her to watch that,
right,
she will understand what she's watching, where it comes from, because New Who is not separate from Old Who. It's one long thing, and time has made it change. So I get into that debate with other fans about every time an actor takes over the role or a new production team takes over, the show is allowed to reinvent itself, which other shows cannot do.
Right.
So I need to show her genesis of it. This is where it came from, and that there were 8 guys before your guy, and she understood the concept, but she had to see it. I bring the In the Beginning box set up to visit her, and I'm saying, just watch this. And I'm thinking, I don't know, if I just throw this black and white 25-minute 60s TV show at her, she's already got resistance to it that has not gone away even though she's watched the new show. She might understand it, but there's a resistance. So I said, let's watch one of the documentaries, because I know something very analytical and dry will help sell this to her.
Right. No, that's...
So we put in the making of one.
Right.
We get to the part where it comes budget, and they announce the budget. You remember, what were these numbers?
No, I went back and I found it. The what you showed me is called Doctor Who Origins, made by the BBC, and it's available out in the ether. It was based on interviews with Sidney Newman and a couple of other people. But what they have in it is it features the original memo that authorizes the pilot. Their proposal is that it would cost, and this is a 1963 memo, and it's authorizes a £2,300 budget per episode, along with a one-time £500 for the creation of the time machine. Okay, so I took this and ran the numbers to convert it into 1963 dollars so that we could have a little bit better grasp of it. In 1963, that translates into $1,858.17 per episode, along with a $403.95 for the construction of the TARDIS. Now,
I've built sets for $400. They never look as good as that TARDIS in there.
Well, now that's 1963 numbers. All right.
Okay.
So convert this into 2015 numbers, and I did it 2015 for a reason. Those numbers brought forward to 2015 dollars is $14,392.74 per episode. That's
my God, that's it
for the budget.
Even now?
That's 2015 numbers.
Yeah, but there's not. But see, an hour of that's not even a guest star's buffet bill.
I know, right? It's craft services, and
oh my God, that's not even, that's a day of craft services.
But I did this that day that I was sitting there on the internet as we were watching Origins together.
And I knew. I saw
this.
Ching. I won.
And it was $3,128.86 in today's money for the creation of the time machine.
Yeah.
Okay, now, but to give everybody else an example, there's a October 9th, 2015 article in the Hollywood Reporter. They did the budget for a pilot, a show called Battle Creek. And it has like Dean Winters and Josh Duhamel. I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, I know. I watched a couple episodes.
Okay.
It was about 2 cops in Battle Creek, Michigan.
Okay, so their total budget for the pilot was $3,564,567. Yeah. Now, above the line, they break it down. Above the line, which is executive producers, cast, producers, directors, and they had Bryan Singer, who'd done the X-Men movies, was the director of the pilot.
I know. Okay, yeah, because this was his creation when his production company.
He directed that pilot. It was executive produced by some of Breaking Bad.
But someone's getting paid.
Breaking Bad, yeah. So people who were expecting to get paid. So above the line, their portion of the budget was $1,095,000. The below the line expenses, which included locations, sets, post-production, all of that, was $2,469,000.
Oh my God!
All right, now set construction alone for Battle Creek was $109,000, $437. So $109,437. So that's a forgettable cop show in today's.
It's actually pretty good.
Okay.
I watched a couple episodes.
Okay.
It was good. It didn't have a good premise, but
Okay.
there were good characters in it. Its premise was weak. It wasn't something that would make you tune in every week.
Okay, but
Didn't have a catch.
by the same standard, 2015 Doctor Who
Mm-hmm.
came in at 1.5 million per episode.
Really? I'm surprised they're spending that much.
Well, I think that was a big year for them. That was sort of the peak Moffat,
Yeah,
Matt
I would think
Smith.
the 50th would be, but
Okay.
you're paying Hurt.
Okay,
you're
but
paying,
even so, compared to it today, that today Doctor Who shoots at 1.5 million. The type of money they were dealing with is $14,000 of today's money. So they were completely on a shoestring.
Oh yeah, I mean I've read all of it. Like they were allowed one edit.
Right.
In this episode, they have the fight sequence is shot on film. That's 2 of their edits, to edit it in and to edit it out.
Yeah.
But fight scenes in certain, and as we get to them, like the first year there are 52 episodes. An actor needs a week off.
Right.
His character is knocked out, so they will film the same scene. They'll film a scene on film, and they'll splice in it at the end of one episode, and it will be the first thing at the beginning of the next one. That way, Ian gets knocked unconscious in the Crusades by one of Saladin's men, and then he goes off to Majorca for a week. And he comes back.
Well,
all the same.
The only other thing that my research turned up, which I think is worth mentioning, this wasn't even just industry standard. It may have been standard for the early 60s BBC, but when we're talking outer space, mid-60s, Lost in Space was shooting at $140,000 per episode.
Well, this was down and dirty. This was meant to be down and dirty. It was for tea time, which they're not going to spend a lot of money on. And it was the first few years of competition was a rival. ITV is new.
Right.
That's why they bring Sidney Newman in.
He'd been at ITV.
ITV, yeah, he'd got them started, and he knew that you could do more than drawing room dramas and sketch shows and the basic what the English saw as television, which was good. I mean, even then they were the master of the epic and the historical drama, which is still there. They still do that better than anybody else. I mean, it's not even a foot race. And he knew what they could do cheaply, and that's the joy of this. I got her to watch it, and she starts to realize that this is kind of like the guerrilla theater that I did back at that time. I was doing a lot of side jobs in theater where you have a very small budget to build a set. The show was doing the kind of theater, and it's guerrilla theater in a way. You get it up, you get it down, get it done. I mean, they would shoot this as a play with maybe one camera cut. They would rehearse it for 3 or 4 days. They would do a tech rehearsal, and then I think it's on Saturday night they would shoot it, and for a 25-minute episode I think it took them 3 hours, and they had to be done at 10 or they turned off the lights, done or not.
And they did this.
That I think that kind of got you into it too, that going, that's how they did it. Oh my God, how do you do that?
And they did it 52 weeks a year.
52 weeks that first year. They learned not to do that again. And it slowly shrunk and shrunk as the years went on. But it also, the show changed. So we got her to watch this one. And I think now maybe it's time to discuss, actually, this story.
Absolutely. No, I was hooked. I was a convert. I was a convert to...
God, yeah.
Yeah.
You watched everything.
Yeah.
You're almost done now.
Yeah.
It has taken 6 or 7 years, but you're getting near the end.
Yeah, I am. I mean, with the missing episodes and things, it's hard to get a continuity going, but I've taken on reading the books and the comics, and
that helped me in the 80s is the ones, because I hadn't seen those yet.
So we will include all of that as we go forward along.
Yeah.
That's part of the plans of the podcast. But
we will jump around. For this first batch, we will do the introduction in order of every Doctor.
Right.
So our first 12 will be the very first stories of every Doctor, which is a good mix of stories. And then we will randomly draw a Doctor story, which we have not figured out how, but we will randomly pick. When we get through the first 12, we will then pick at random another first Doctor story.
Right.
And then in between, maybe once in a while, to break up that we will do supplemental stories about people that were on the show and other specialty things, spin-offs. I think at one point I would like to maybe review Adventures in Space and Time,
Yeah.
the Mark Gatiss one. I really want to kind of watch Probe,
Yeah. I'm looking
the
forward
Shaw
to it.
show. So, but this one, let me start on this one.
Sure.
I think this is the greatest pilot ever filmed that I've ever seen. And there are pilots I like. I love the Lost pilot, the Battlestar Galactica pilot, which I'd forgotten. But that's a 3-hour pilot because it was, filmed as a miniseries with an incredible cast. But normally a pilot is choppy. The writers don't know the actors. There's no history of a show. So what does the character do? We can do it all. This show, and having rewatched it now, for probably the 20th time, I watched it and I was like, we are seeing the formations of all these characters at 100% from the first time each one is pulled on screen.
Yeah.
Barbara, the first one who speaks, is a fully rounded character.
Mm-hmm.
Ian, fully rounded.
Mm-hmm.
Susan, fully rounded.
Yeah.
She will fall into some tropes that the show uses.
Sure.
And that's not her as an actress, because
no,
Carolyn, and the Doctor is the Doctor, even though I purposely in the synopsis don't refer to him as the Doctor until the second episode, because this is my continuity bias, is he has not taken that name yet.
Right.
In later shows he does, because I was thinking Day of the Doctor, she refers to him as Doctor Clara, one of the Claras, but he doesn't call himself the Doctor yet. And they really don't start calling him the Doctor until a little further in. But they are all fully rounded. Their interactions are not predictable, but natural to how those two types of people would interact with one another.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. I forget it. And we get to the caveman, I'm like...
I think with Ian and Barbara, I think they reached into a bag, not of tropes, but of archetypes,
No, there's nothing wrong with an archetype, but
exactly.
then the actor's got to make the archetype real.
Right.
This is who I'm playing, but how am I going to play it?
Right.
Ian Chesterton is the hero.
Right. He's a man of action.
He's a man of action. But he's not as brave as Barbara.
Not at all.
No, because Barbara, I believe them. I believe what they're saying. I'm not afraid of this thing that is making me question my beliefs, my scientific beliefs.
Right.
The scientist is the skeptic.
He's the skeptic.
And afraid. The person who studied history her whole life knows that anything is possible.
Well, but
we have to accept it as that.
But he's motivated by evidence.
Yes,
right?
she's not.
And she's motivated by humanity.
Yes, she's been studying human nature, basically being a history teacher her whole life, where he's doing, he needs empirical proof. How is this possible? The Doctor is a scared refugee.
Yeah.
And Susan is the girl that just wants to fit in. She wants to be human. We don't know anything about their history in this, but that she just wants to be human. She wants to live a normal life. And it's kind of hard with a grandfather who's, he's in his stolen time machine and taking you all over the place. But I think from the moment they start, the pilot's great. The first pass pilot's a little different. It's a little darker. I like it. But the changes they make the show work so it can continue. And I was dreading watching the caveman bit again. Yeah. And I make fun of it. Oh, English caveman. Let's have tea.
Right.
But I'm watching it this time objectively, knowing I'm going to have to speak about it. And I'm like going, there are only 4 speaking roles. Brilliant idea. Don't have any of the others speak. Just the 4 of them. The 2 rivals, it's 5 speaking roles. I'm sorry, 5.
The 2 women, the 2 rivals.
The 2 women,
and
the 2 rivals, and the father figure, who is more just a foil to what the other 4 are doing.
Right.
And maybe do some exposition. But they're not that bad.
No, and there's not 2. Good. It's that tightly written because you've got Old Mother is named, and so you don't have to get into who she is in relation to everybody else. She's the crone.
She's the matriarch of the tribe. That's it.
And the other guy is a former chieftain. No longer chief, not leader, but a person of consequence.
Yes.
And
he's going to sell off his daughter.
Right. That's all that's necessary. So you've got societal pressures. I hate change. from the old crone. My father has to give us his blessing.
Zob, a father who didn't trust him enough to teach him how to make fire because he
Right.
thinks he's a bit of a twat.
Right, or that he would usurp the throne.
Yeah, because he is he's ambitious. Zod is ambitious.
Sure.
He doesn't act like it's his right. He thinks he needs to. He should earn it. He doesn't like the cow, the outsider, the foreigner.
Mm-hmm.
Which now that I've just said that out loud, because
Mm-hmm.
the English have that thing about the foreigner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just watched a whole bunch of Hercule Poirot, and sometimes the English, they are not shy about showing that they in the past are xenophobic.
Mm-hmm.
And it is in their culture to be the empire of xenophobes.
No, Tom Baker catches the brig in a moment like a joke like that. Oh, that'd be foreign.
Yeah. But I think this one holds up. I think it's actually one of the better stories of the. I mean, I like the Hartnell era. I like the black and white era.
Yeah.
It has its spot. You know, I have friends that are Who fans. It's like, oh, the black and white side is important. It's like, you don't get to the color. There's 7 years of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't keep making it. They don't know, oh, we just have to make it to 1980 and then Tom Baker comes along. Whatever. The American Baker bias. But I think it holds up. I think it's really good.
It's certainly, and this is my third rewatch of it, I think, and it's certainly the best caveman story that I've seen on television.
I can't think of a good caveman story in a movie except maybe Quest for Fire, and that's heavy-handed.
The movie version I don't remember in a positive way, but the Gene Rule books, Clan of the Cave Bear, the books were good. But
I don't think I could get through the movie even at like 16 with Daryl Hannah being in it. You know, like, ugh, it's awful.
But as you said earlier, beats the hell out of Ringo Starr.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's much better than, 1 million years to Earth. No, 1 million year BC or whatever the Rocco Welsh movie is. It's a weird one to start with.
I don't know.
I mean, it's better than some of the other choices they had, like Planet of the Giants.
Well, but with Sidney Newman saying no bug-eyed monsters, you couldn't sort of come out of the gate with that.
Well, and it had the thing, it had to be history 1 week in science fiction, history one story, science fiction the next.
And you might as well go to year 0.
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
otherwise, with Ian's skepticism about everything, he would have been, lifting up skirts and looking for the costume. If it was anybody else, it had to go.
And
back.
I know that they steer away from English history in the first season. Now that I'm thinking about it right now, it's the Aztecs, the French Revolution.
Right?
That's it. I mean, I can't wait till we get to talk about the Aztecs. I mean, I love that one. I love that one. Oh, Marco Polo, China.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Which is the one, that one missing one we all want them to find.
Mm-hmm.
But I like it. I think the Doctor's good. I have some issues with, some little things you have. We need to talk about companions, though.
Okay.
Say there's a scale of A. We're going to start with this A through F, like normal gradings here. A, B, C, D, E, F.
Mm-hmm.
A, B, C, D, F, no E. And we will, as we add characters. I would put none of these 3 companions as A's. I reserve that A for a small handful. We will get to them. I would put Ian and Barbara definitely in B.
Oh, they're B pluses.
B pluses. They're pushing that bubble of A. You know what? I might rewatch some more of these and go, hell, move them up.
Yeah, I might say that they're A minus. Part of me wants to say, but for we don't get. If we needed Hartnell to do this job this well, in order
he needs them.
He needs them just as
well.
much.
The whole 4 of them need each other. It is a tight ensemble.
Yeah.
It is a tight ensemble, which does not always come with this show. There are times where you can tell this is not a good match.
Yeah.
But Susan, and I will let you go on to Susan, who I like Carol Ann Ford, but there are some issues in this one.
Oh, I mean, and I think some of it's the writing as well.
Oh, no, it's
The writing,
definitely the writing, but I have never
directing.
noticed in 20 years of watching this story over and over again.
She runs in circles. Like what I don't understand is if the conceit is that she has been traveling with her grandfather for some limited
Length of
period.
time.
Yeah, some limited length of time. But she's been places enough so that she would have learned the vast sort of knowledge that she has.
Yeah, 'cause
about
she's not ignorant of what's out there.
of what's out there, right? She says, but that's not how it happened about the French
Well, you know, you
Revolution.
could think maybe, oh, she's young.
You don't know that she's young. You don't know that
Well, we
she's
don't know that he's old
right.
either. We
Exactly.
don't know. I mean, well, that's some of the mythos that doesn't come till later.
Right. But
I mean, they don't give his planet a name until the last year of the third Doctor.
he disappears, and she starts to lose her mind. And she starts to get worried about him. And then when they find his notebooks, they find his stuff crushed, and his notebooks have been left behind. She literally loses her mind and races about in a circle until she
And
collapses in a heap on the floor.
I know you told me that the other day, and I went back and rewatched it, and I went, oh my God, she does. It's like a 2 foot circle. Like,
I know. You know, at another point, she's given the job and of twisting her ankle. You know, which is I'm not going to actually criticize them for doing because it. I think it's probably still something that we see too frequently on television today. You know, down a dark alley, the woman runs in high heels and twists her ankle. You know, and
I think they do with nerdy boys a little bit more.
okay, well, Susan.
They do.
Well, Susan.
You see frat boys I watch Supernatural, and you see frat boys and guys that think they're real bright,
Yeah,
but
I
they're
think
just testosterone
Supernatural.
clowns, get eaten by monsters like that. It's just, you know,
So
and they're dumb. It's the reverse dumb. I'm going to go down a dark alley.
eh,
There's been a rash of murders in this town. Why are you going down a dark alley? And then the next thing you know, they're beheaded.
Well, Susan has the decency to be racing for her life through a forest. So before she trips and falls, which is it could have.
Well, she trips over the carcass of a dead animal.
Okay, it could happen to any of us.
Anybody. But did she grab her ankle? Yes. Just grab her ankle. It's just awful. There's one. Wait until you're gonna watch the Five Doctors soon.
Yeah.
And you're gonna call me or text me when you get to a scene.
Yeah.
And you're gonna go, Harry could have walked around the clamshell. It's ridiculous. There's a scene with her and her ankle that you're just like going, oh, come on. Really? At that point, she's a 50-year-old woman.
But now, talk about the great writing in this one, the speech that he's got the opportunity to give.
I mean, yeah, Anthony Colburn, who never wrote another one, and I read an interview with his son about it, and it's just amazing. There's the thing about fear. I'm rewatching it, and I brought it up to you when we were discussing it before we recorded about that it's there, right there. That thing where he goes that fear. It's something we all have, and that other thing that lives with it, hope. Your friend said hope. Yes, that's it, hope.
Well, he said, fear makes companions of us all.
Of us all, yeah.
And that rang true for me, and I went back and looked for it, and that very same quote comes up in a Stephen Moffat penned episode in Peter Capaldi's first season, and he gives a speech to Clara.
It doesn't matter if there's nothing under the bed or in the dark, so long as you know it's okay to be afraid of it. So listen. If you listen to nothing else, listen to this. You're always going to be afraid. Even if you learn to hide it. Fear is like a companion. A constant companion, always there. But that's okay. Because fear can bring us together. Fear can bring you home. I'm gonna leave you something just so you'll always remember. Fear makes companions of us all.
But she's saying it to, spoilers, the young doctor.
Yes.
And so the young doctor is being spoken to by, and it's the wonderful way and the wonderful circles that you can think in terms of time. It's one of Ian says to the doctor in this episode. Time doesn't run about in circles, and you can just get on or get off whenever you feel like it. But
Wait, yeah.
very...
Wait until Stephen Moffat writes it.
I know.
As different people come on, some want to mess with time and others don't. I'm a Moffat fan because he's like, I'm going to mess with time. We're going to play with it. This is a show about time travel.
Yeah.
So they're going to do things in the wrong order. But, I mean, overall, what do you think of this story? Does it hold up for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have cave people speak, you know.
And I remember them being a little more haughty English. And I think that was just my own bias.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I mean, I have read, too many books on this show. I have almost every copy of Doctor Who magazine, so I've read every article on this episode. And they make fun of it. It's one of those things where you, even as a Who fan, you make fun of certain things that are Who. Oh, they did that thing where they were in Spain and everybody was English, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we do that in America.
Sure.
You know?
Actually, what we do is we make them British if they're in Spain, yeah.
Yes, everybody who's foreign is English.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it holds up. I think it's actually better than I remember it.
Yeah, I did not remember from my previous watchings how Zal learns and how
They get that thing that, like I say in the thing, that Ian's a little agitator.
Yeah.
You do this. Let's do this as a community.
Yeah.
And it's almost Star Trek in its Roddenberry-ness.
Yeah, yeah.
It is, which that's a compliment. And as much as I'm, as a Star Trek fan too, who I appreciate Roddenberry, I find some of his Pollyanna outlooks on the universe as...
He can be a little heavy-handed, yeah.
Well, it's also unrealistic. The fact that man will evolve to where we always get along, it's like fear. How, the Doctor talks about overcoming fear, but also being good, like Za ultimately has to do, is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the right thing is never going to be easy. It is in our nature, I think, to be selfish and protective of our own, whether it be an individual or a family, like the Doctor's protective of Susan.
Mm-hmm.
And he eventually becomes protective of Ian and Barbara and all his future companions. But that's a natural instinct, that protectiveness. And sometimes seeing that the group can do it better is hard for an individual, especially a leader, someone who wants to be in charge.
Right.
Because there's that level of narcissism that comes with wanting to be in charge.
But stepping himself through that and then becoming a very political animal over a believably short period of time, it's well written. I think it's well done.
And then now that you just say that, I realize it, because that's what the Doctor does. More so later, he does it on purpose. He lands in a place, he sees there's a trouble. He finds that everyday man or woman, plucks them from the crowd.
Right.
Rose, the shop girl, the shop girl who saves the universe. Either two school teachers that teach the Doctor humanity. These are everyday people. I think that's why the show kind of, sometimes when they go with someone non-everyday as a companion, doesn't always work. Because it's got to be you or me in the crowd with them.
So what's not everyday? What do you mean by that? Like Romana?
Let's jump spoilers. Romana.
Yeah.
She doesn't humanize him.
No, you're right.
She doesn't. Well, Leela, who's not everyday because she's a warrior, she's a child in a lot of ways.
But she's that...
To the outside world. She's
that
smart.
Instinctual being, yeah.
Yeah, she's an instinctual being and she's lived a certain life, but he opens her eyes. Right. And we can relate to that as being a child. That's our point of contact with her. She might be a full-grown adult, but she's seeing what we see as every day for the first time.
Right.
And there's that amazement of a child. What do you mean this is a horse's carriage, which I don't think she ever says, but the lighthouse. Right. And as a child, she accepts it. She doesn't get scared and want to run away. Children, wow, that looks neat. That's called electricity. Don't touch it. She's kind of like that. And very protective like a child. Don't do things to my friend.
Right.
Which as an adult, we stop doing. We can, Yeah, I hope, you never stop it completely. There's some good things in this one. And I was very surprised. I thought that it'd be 20 minutes of us talking about a great pilot and then the hoity English cavemen. And I watching it going and finding this is very tightly written. There's no wasted dialogue. There's no padding.
Yeah.
You know?
And they did it all for $14,000.
And they did it in 4 weeks. Well, 5 because they had to shoot the pilot twice, but still. And then they weren't even sure if the show was going to last. And then the next story brings in his greatest enemy. So this is a show of the little engine that could.
Yeah.
And people go, well, it's not that good. It's like it lasted 28 seasons in the original run. And now it's going into its 10th series now. And it's been on and off the air for 53 years.
Yep.
Will this year be 53? 54.
So that's a wrap for tonight. We've covered the first story for the first Doctor. We've been introduced to the Doctor, to Susan, teachers Barbara and Ian, to the TARDIS and the Tribe of Gum. As they have started on their grand adventures aboard the TARDIS, and we have started ours. In our next podcast, we will discuss the first regeneration of a Doctor and meet the second incarnation in Patrick Troughton in The Power of the Daleks. This missing story has been newly resurrected in a fully animated 6-parter. It's the first time the story can be viewed in its entirety since the originals were destroyed in 1974. We're looking forward to receiving the DVD on its release this coming week. This is all fantastic news for people who love the series but who've missed out with so many missing episodes. So it's an exciting week. Launch of the podcast, viewing an old story made anew, and hopefully reaching other fans of this series, old and new. So find us on Facebook at Gallifrey's Most Wanted, a Doctor Who podcast. On Twitter, we can be found at Gallifrey's MW Pod. You can email your comments and questions to gallifreysmostwanted@gmail.com. And you can like and comment on Google Play and iTunes or wherever you found us. So until our next podcast, see you out there in time and space.